Hey, Love First family. Welcome to our Love First 365 interviews we've been doing with couples. I am here by myself with one of our newest Love First 365 couples, and I'm excited to speak with them and talk to them about their experience. So, if you guys could tell us or where you're from, who you are, and how long you've been married.
Well, my name is Dwayne. It's just Shelby. We're the Aaron's. We currently live in Brooklyn, New York. She grew up in Maryland, well, the DMV. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. We've been married for close to 2 months, and the next couple of days it'll be 2 months. And it's been a ride to say the least.
Awesome, awesome. And you guys don't have any kids. You're just like you're fresh off the boat with this whole
No kids.
awesome. So us what brought you to Love First and why did you decide to work with Love First?
So originally when we got engaged, we were discussing premarital counseling. And my dad, as much as it annoyed me at the time, actually demanded that we do premarital counseling before he gives any type of blessing to our marriage.
Oh, traditional, huh?
Mhm. So we actually did a group premarital counseling through one of our sister churches. And through that, it kind of opened up our eyes to a lot of things we didn't think about with marriage or like the meaning of marriage, just because you're kind of taught, oh, if you love someone, you just get married, but you don't necessarily think about the actual biblical meaning and the understanding. So actually, Dwayne suggested that we do individualized, like just well, 2-on-1 individualized counseling.
Mhm.
So then we ended up kind of looking around at different programs, different premarital counselors, and actually, in being fully transparent, I have known the Pickett since, well, they've known me before I knew myself. Um, so I've known that they are in this business for a while. So we ended up looking at the curriculum and just different reviews and seeing that it addressed a lot of concerns or just different ideas that we had. Also, just with me knowing the Picketts, I know that they're actually real people that wouldn't just kind of look at us as like a check or just kind of go through the motions, but would actually, pour into us. So that's why we initially reached out. And after our consultation call, it just felt right for both of us, I think.
Gotcha. So you said something that sparked a question in me. And I think that this will probably be good for me as well as other folks. So you mentioned that you guys did like this like I guess a group counseling thing. You went to this conference or what have you. And Dwayne, you suggested that you guys do this sort of one-on-one counseling. Like, what was the benefit of that, or what made you decide to, as opposed to being in a room with a bunch of people and hearing these messages or what have you, what made you decide to do specialized counseling? Not that like your relationship was bad, but like, or any of that, but like what made you make that transition from saying, I think we should, as opposed to just doing this, we should do some specialized stuff where someone works with us to one on one.
I think when we did the group setting of the marriage council, it was fine. We were hearing other people's stories of how they got together and some of their challenges. But at the end of the day, I feel like we were able to get to the nuts and crannies of our own relationship, that
Gotcha.
where we could be vulnerable with each other, we could be open with each other. Like in a group setting, you could still highlight some of those insecurities about the relationship. But in
Mhm.
a one-on-one setting, it's just you and your partner and a counselor. Then once the counselor gives you those tools that you need to prepare, it's just you and the couple, and then you, the couple, and God. So it's just always the three. It's always the three, like the Holy Trinity. So I think that's what helps the one-on-one, two-on-one situation compared to a group situation.
Gotcha. Awesome. I want to just take the opportunity to thank you both because Shelby, you have known me for a long time, right? And I'm actually really good friends with your parents. And the fact that you trusted me with that and trusted my wife and I with, your marriage journey leading up to that. And Dwayne, you didn't know me, right? And I've known Shelby for a long time. And you could have viewed this as me being one-sided, and you guys didn't do that, right? At least maybe you did, but if you did, I didn't know about it, right? And I really appreciate the fact that you guys came in very open and you trusted us to help you. And I don't take that lightly. So I also want to thank you guys for that. Now, we actually, not only did we do your premarital counseling, we actually did your wedding. And I want to give a shout out to you guys because Shelby, I think you and your mom planned your wedding, and I'm telling you, it was one of the most fabulous weddings I've ever attended, and I've attended a lot of weddings and officiated a lot of weddings, like from everything, from the rehearsal dinner. Like Dwayne, I think you picked it. I don't know, Dwayne, you picked out a lot of this stuff too. The rehearsal dinner, the venue, like everything was just fabulous. Even the food for the wedding, like I've never seen like family style, and it was like really great food and like just like everything from start to finish was like fabulous. And I want to just give you guys a shout out for having one of the no shade to any other wedding I've done, but that wedding was really fabulous. And I really was very honored to be a part of that, my wife and I both. So what let me just ask you this question. Like what did you guys, what was your most challenging thing, like for those couples that are like planning a wedding or whatever? Like what were your takeaways from planning that wedding and like making it as fabulous as it was?
Let her go.
Well, first and foremost, thank you. That was a Brenda Mitchell exclusive, where, she tries to think through every element and anticipate and, rather than just going for the spending of the money, just tries to be intentional about creating an experience, not just for us, but for everybody. So she'll appreciate that. But I think for me, kind of the hardest part is remembering, the end goal, which for us was taking these vows in front of our community, in front of God, and creating this covenant and just this new oneness. Because I think you get caught up in the glamour, and sometimes maybe you also lose sight of. I'm supposed to be in these months creating good habits in terms of with my partner communication. So for me, I'm all about money. I am in the sense of like I budget. I look at like pennies. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna track this to get a deal. Like I'm gonna look at our paychecks, and if we spend, this amount here, this amount here, it won't set us back. So for me, I put a lot of time and effort into doing that so it doesn't hurt us. And then I'll create like just spreadsheets. So I'm like, Dwayne, you can work at your pace, but just meet these deadlines. Um, but for me, I had to realize what worked for me didn't maybe necessarily work for him. So then when like deadlines are being missed, one, making sure that I'm communicating in like an appropriate, positive manner that's not tearing down my partner, but also realizing that what may work for me may not work for him. So I need to sit down and communicate and talk my way through kind of how to make this work so that both of our needs are being met, but then also talking to him about, okay, well, what's going on with you and what else do you have going on that maybe this isn't the front of your mind when it's the front of my mind right now. So I think just kind of remembering why I'm doing it, and then also remembering that in doing this, I'm planting seeds for the rest of my life. Was kind of a little hard for me, but I got
Got,
it.
got you. What about you, Dwayne? What would you say?
Mine was more different because my end, like I was just thinking about the end goal, getting down the aisle, and then like from there, for like I wasn't thinking about too much, but then like when you think about it, like it was a lot of communication because I was going to do a lot of test certificates, like certifications. I was taking classes, so I had to communicate that. Thinking about like a move, preparing for that because we're trying to relocate still. So I had like, my mom on a whole lot of stuff. And like the wedding, like I knew it was coming, but I'm like, okay, I got the deadline to pay this, I got the deadline to pay that, and I got the deadline to do this. So that was, I'm like, as long as I get to the deadlines and we're pay and like get to down the aisle, I was fine. I just had a whole lot in my head. But then, like Shelby said, like you have to communicate that because one bad communication could have been like, okay, this is not important to you, let's not do this. So
Weddings off.
as she said, um, so you have to make sure you communicate with your partner and make sure like you guys are on the same page because as much as it is about the glitz and grammar, it's more so about the communication because the communication trumps everything. So like, yeah, the money was the big deal, but it was more so like us just communicating back and forth and knowing what we wanted and like what was going on with each other.
Gotcha. Awesome. Awesome. So I think that we did like about 10 weeks of premarital counseling. Like out of those 10 weeks, what would you say were your biggest takeaways from what your experience was and what you gained in the premarital counseling?
Um,
Say, go ahead.
I think for me, a big thing for us was communication and working through conflict on my side and how to do so in like a productive manner.
Mhm.
And, sorry if I'm giving out your trade secrets,
No,
but
you're good. You just this is all good. All good.
okay. When you talked about resolution and reconciliation and how oftentimes we'll try to go from we'll just try to reconcile but we don't resolve, or how we think, or how one of us will kind of put our foot down and put a resolution down, but then we don't work towards reconciling and reconciling in terms of instituting those elements of friendship that you talked about. So we might say, okay, well, we're squashing this, we're done, but then sit in separate rooms for the next 2 days. So I do think that reconciliation cannot happen without resolution, I believe is how you framed it, is something that was one of my biggest takeaways. Just because I think that in life, one thing we learned in our group session that kind of brought us here was that is marriage is not necessarily about like being happy and just marrying the person you love. It's about finding, as you say, your partner, but then that partner that's going to help you glorify God's kingdom, and bring people into that kingdom and meet your goals within his plan for your life. And I think that, I found my person, but in finding my person, it's not going to be just all happy times. So I need to learn how to not just reconcile, but actually resolve issues and get to the root of them, but be able to have the skills that I can communicate effectively. And I think that it was just very seamless how, even if I say the main thing was resolution and reconciliation, it also deals with communication. It deals with our families, it deals with friendship. So just everything that you brought in over those 10 weeks built off of each other in a way that I could say, well, this is our only issue, but you touched on so many things that, you can throw up under any umbrella, but they're all just
Gotcha.
useful. So that was it for me.
Shoot, I love it. I love it. What about you, Dwayne? What was your biggest takeaway?
I'm gonna say I'll piggyback off of that. Just the resolution, and resolution. I'm getting tongue twisted on the word, but coming on with a resolution, but also just being transparent because I know like when you being transparent during like your communication, a lot of stuff can be resolved like early just so you won't have any like troubles. Like be open with your feelings of how you feeling. Don't like hold in or like gaslight your partner, making sure that you're talking to your partner like with your struggles and like what you're going through, because when you do that then the communication struggle like it opens up because they might not know you're dealing with something or how you're feeling, because if
Mhm.
you hold back and then like you don't, like it's just gonna cause more problems and then it's just gonna be an explosion at the end. So that's the
Gotcha.
biggest takeaway I got.
Awesome. I love it. So overall, you guys are happy. Like, so Shelby, I know you said, oh, my dad was like, you guys have to do this. Like, looking back, could you ever have imagined getting married without doing individualized premarital counseling? Can you
I would
imagine?
like I would like to think that I'm a strong, God-fearing woman, but we might have been divorced by now. I'm not gonna lie, I love you, but I just think that as smart as I think I am, I don't have all the answers. I can admit that. And
Right.
with this premarital counseling, it's easier for me to admit that. So I definitely think it would not have been as easy getting to the altar. Even in our first 2 months, a lot of life has happened. Just in the months leading up to our wedding, and then even now currently, just a lot of just life things with births, deaths, jobs, thinking through the future. So I do think that just with everything that's been thrown at us, I think that this has really kind of prepped us for what needs to happen. So I definitely can't imagine doing this without having not only the tools that you gave us, but then also just that guaranteed feeling of, well, if something, if there was an emergency or if there is something happening, we still have a resource. Like it's not just, oh, you got us down the aisle and now you're done with us. Like you've checked in with us. I know you still pray for us. I know you do. So just definitely, I think it's necessary.
Awesome. What about you, Dwayne? Could you have imagined like doing this without premarital?
No, to be honest, like as you know, part of being a man, you gotta admit your rights, you gotta admit your wrongs and your faults. And like last year, I wasn't at the place where I nearly was where I am now. So like this point last year, I wouldn't say like no, but now like it's just more confidence in myself and like more open and willing to be with my partner and loving my partner and making sure that me and my partner does the best job that we do just to put God first and communicate and be on one accord. I think it was a lot. Well, I ain't gonna say a team of me, but it wasn't like a team of we, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I love it.
Hi, guys.
So
Hey.
my partner just joined.
I was getting my hair braided and they took long.
Oh my gosh.
It's
And
okay.
we didn't want y'all to wait any
She was
longer.
late.
I'm like,
She has
Lord,
to pay me in lap dances.
no problem, no problem, bruh.
Dwayne is this dude is off the chain. Dwayne, you're married now, man. You could do you good. Y'all
Man,
do whatever.
You can do whatever.
You can.
But I heard you guys, and I'm so grateful that we were able to be a part of y'all's union. And the premarital part is something that I think has to happen because marriage hits different. Stuff happens, and when you get married and say I do, all kinds of stuff just
It just happens like spiritually,
and so I'm so glad that you guys did it. Of course, we've known you, Shelby, all your life.
We said that.
Okay, but but Dwayne, it's you're now part of our family, and
Absolutely.
yeah, we love you so much.
Nephew.
Yeah,
You can call you nephew.
I kind of touched on that, and so did you, but I did just want to say a thank you to you also that you are hearing it from us. Is that, like I mentioned, we did kind of research around for just like different premarital individualized counselors, and even for a second we were in our research, like we knew we had certain criteria, but like again, you all's program and plan just met up with like a lot of what we were looking for. And that was something that we discussed and prayed on a lot, was if we should go with someone that has known me longer than I've known myself, just because I wanted Dwayne to feel comfortable and be honest and open and not feel like, oh, they might be running back to her parents saying something, or they might judge me because like they're going to be in our lives even outside of this. So we don't want them looking at him like, oh,
right.
him over there. So that's something that I wanted him to feel very comfortable about in order for us to get the most out of it. So we definitely had our own like individual check-ins of, prior to meeting with Uncle Todd the first time. And even after that, I was like, hey, Dwayne, how do you feel about that? And he felt comfortable. He appreciated that you brought it up on your own about just how you really value like privacy and discretion, and that you're not necessarily coming from this from a little Shelby aspect, but you're appreciating and getting to know me as an adult. So I think that was something that was very helpful for us, and also just your willingness to share like your own story and experiences. So it wasn't just us just talking, but it felt like, we were really learning from example and really learning from what works. And it's not like you were just spitting like textbook at us. So I do appreciate that.
Definitely.
Okay, cool. Well, we really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you mentioning, Shelby, that we are in your lives for the rest of your life. And we really try to do that with all of our Love First couples. We believe in lifelong relationships. So it's not just getting you down the aisle, but it's just helping you through life's challenges. And I think that that's one of the reasons why we are here, because we've been married for 33 years and someone had to help us.
Absolutely.
Right?
And
Like
still help us.
there are all these stages of marriage.
Mhm.
So we really appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for doing this interview. If you are listening to this, you can meet up with us at lovefirst365.com. Join our community. You can book a free consult. We even have online learning. If you don't want to meet with us personally, you can do our online learning. But thank you for joining in, and thank you to the Aarons for joining us and being with Love First 365. Remember to love first.